What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we're taking a look at the Oblivion Remaster here on the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus. Performance is really all over the place and can range from 40s and 50s down to 20-something FPS pretty quickly, completely depending on where you're at in the game, what you're doing, what the cutscene may entail. It's really all over the place. Even though this was a Steam Deck verified game as well, it's not running very great over on the Steam Deck in my opinion, and it's kind of barely playable. At least here on the Claw 8, we do have enough power to kind of push through and make it a more playable experience, even though it still has a lot of stutters and frame drops and that type of thing. We are going to be running 30 watts manual mode, which is really just a cap, not a static setting. It will pick up that we're on auto VRAM, so it's only seeing 1 GB, but we do have up to 18 shared, and that seems to work fine once in game. As far as settings, I would recommend 1200p, 900p, or 800p. We're going to take a look at a couple of those in here. We're also going to use a couple of presets and some custom settings between low and medium, which we'll also take a look at here too. And then we've got FSR 3 with frame gen and XeSS here. It's not XeSS 2, so we don't have Intel's frame generation, unfortunately. Hopefully we'll get that in an update. But if you do want to use frame gen, you can use FSR to get there. We'll take a look at that too as we get into things. But using this one spot for some consistency, at 1200p low preset XeSS performance, we're at around 38-39 FPS on low settings, not even doing anything. If we go up to the medium preset to keep things kind of easy, the game looks a lot better than trying to run over on low, and ultimately I think we can get away with it for the most part because we have some major frame rate dips at different areas of the game anyway. I think it just looks a lot better that way. If you go to high though, things will really fall apart later, and even though it will try to get to 30 FPS sitting still here, as you saw in the beginning of the video and you'll see later, it's really not going to be able to hold its own there. But medium is a decent place between low and high, and we'll do some custom stuff here as well in a minute. Now if you want to go over to FSR and turn on frame, or go to FSR and we'll turn on performance just like we had on XeSS, even though they don't necessarily use the same base resolution. You do lose 4 or 5 or more FPS doing that. XeSS just runs better on Intel hardware, being the native upscaler. So I highly recommend using that if you're not using frame gen. If you do want to use frame gen as we have on here, you have to use FSR, and I would say performance or balance depending on what resolution you want to go for, and a combination of low and medium settings. But it is a low base FPS, and even though it works okay here, I typically would just rather use XeSS upscaling and no frame gen for this game. I think it does fine, but you'll be able to do either one. Going to 900p, back to XeSS and on bounce, and actually bump up to a little over 40 FPS, and 900p is really where I'm going to stick with the game. You could go down to 800 and gain a few more, but 900p seems to be a good sweet spot and looks decent on the 8-inch screen. Going to FSR, balance, and frame gen on, this will actually get you up to about 62 FPS by the time it settles in here. So again, if you wanted to take advantage of using in-game frame gen and do that, you could, but there's so many skips and stutters and frame rate drops in different areas of the game. I just stayed away from frame gen for the most part this time. I have a combination of low medium settings here with just a few tick down to low that you can see on screen from foliage and a couple other things. You could certainly adjust this more, but this gets me up to about 41, 42 FPS at 900p, custom medium, XeSS balanced. And for the most part, that's kind of the middle ground that I found to run things as I was spending 4 or 5 hours with the game. I still have a long ways to get into it, and who knows how other areas are going to run, and you've already seen anywhere from 25 to 50 some FPS just in this video with these settings varying all over the place. But for the most part, I'm going to leave it there. I've got some gameplay that you guys can check out and see some more performance in different areas. And then that might help you adjust the settings how you want between FSR or frame gen, low, medium, all that kind of thing. So anyways, guys, as always, thanks a lot for coming and check out the video. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one.
Stand back, civilian. This is no place for you. Get back to the encampment at once.
Oh.